A special talk in the field. Today, Mr. Carter planned a special class for his students. Instead of the usual lesson, he wanted to teach them something different. At exactly 1 hour before lunch, he asked the class to walk with him to the large open field behind the school. "It's easy to sit in a classroom," he said, "but sometimes we learn more when we reach outside our comfort zones." As the class arrived, some students began to talk and laugh. But Mr. Carter raised his hand and asked them to be quiet. "This is not just a fun trip," he said. "This field is part of a study. We're going to measure the effect of pollution on local plants." The students started to listen more closely. In particular, we'll look at one type of flower that used to grow here in full color. But now, because of the condition of the soil, it's hard to find. He showed them a small notebook. You will each take note of what you see and write down your observations. Mina, a shy student, asked, "How can we be sure what is good or bad?" "Good question," said Mr. Carter. "We'll determine that by using a simple rate system. 1 for poor, 5 for healthy. It's not perfect, but it gives us control over the process." As they walked farther, the ground became uneven. "Be careful not to fall," one student said to another. They spent about 20 minutes looking around. "At the very least, we'll learn something about nature," said Mr. Carter, "and probably a little about teamwork too." Later, the students sat together on the grass. They shared their notes and ideas. Mina finally spoke up. "I think we need to help this place. Maybe we can plant seeds or clean up the trash." "That's a great idea," Mr. Carter said. "It's important to understand the whole picture, not just the science, but the community's role too." The students smiled. Even though the task was small, they felt proud. They had taken the first step to make a change. "Although this is just one day," Mr. Carter said, "if your care for the planet remains, the world will feel the effect." As they walked back to the street, each student carried their notebook. They didn't just receive a science lesson. They learned something bigger. Thus, a normal day became a special moment they would never forget. Back in the classroom, Mr. Carter asked the students to share what they learned. One student said, "I didn't know plants could be hurt so easily." Another said, "I want to learn more about how pollution works." Mr. Carter smiled. This is how change begins, with awareness and action. Each of you has the power to do something, even if it seems small. He wrote on the board, "Understand, measure, act." It was a simple message, but for the students, it made a big effect.